Mr. Vast.
Theater of CAC presents the Peter Pan Syndrome. Its unique style, performance karaoke stand-up seminar, carelessly mashes together the self-help book of the same title with the classic original play from J.M. Barrie. This show has not won countless awards. It has won none. It hasn't been funded by the lottery, the Arts Council, the Goethe Foundation, not even by his Auntie Ethel. This show doesn't make any sense. It will not change your life.
And it is unsuitable for people of all ages.
The Peter Pan Syndrome.
Kröter, a.k.a. Mr. Vast.
Hello.
A.k.a. lots of other a.k.a.s in the studio
AKA,
now,
AKA, yeah.
here in Berlin on Radio 1. Yeah.
It's nice to be
and
back.
Jörg.
Hi. Jörg is here.
Mr. Vast's compatriot in crime.
Indeed.
Oh no, I shouldn't say that, should I?
Certainly is.
You should.
Yeah.
I should, okay. And Renus here as well, in the corner.
Renus.
We're all bunched up. It's the three.
Romulus and Renus.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Pardon?
Romulus and Renus.
Yes.
Yeah.
So tell us about. Well, actually, I want to talk about Romulus and Renus now, but but no, Kröter. It's another side project of yourself, Henry.
Yes, Kröter. It's a funny thing actually. It's a long and it's great that Jörg's here because it did begin with me and him and a couple of other friends. We all lived in Hamburg in an artist house called Vorwerkstift, and which is a great place for at least for a time.
Like all artist places.
Yeah, then you want to get out. Yeah. But while we were in there was a cellar where you could do music stuff, and we used to sort of coagulate there irregularly, and I guess those were the first Kröter band sessions. Although we didn't know that at the time, we enjoyed playing together, and then skip to 10 years later, and we're all most of them are in Berlin. I'm in Leipzig, and I suggest that we maybe have a session again. And by this point, Christoph, the drummer, synthie player's got a studio in Südkreuz, and we all meet there, and that begins this Kröter thing. We just started jamming again and taking mushrooms and having really ecstatic, wonderful journeys in this studio, and then I came up with this name about the toad, something about regeneration, something magical, something transformative, and everyone hated it, but now they all love it. 3 years later, 4 years later, how long is it?
Takes a while, doesn't it?
Longer.
I bet the Beatles didn't like the name in the first place. I
bet they didn't.
Hey lads, what do you reckon? What about the Beatles? We'll kill the Beatles, like
Silver Toads.
Yeah. They probably didn't. I wonder if they thought the name up.
Probably took them 10 years or 20 years to finally sort of agree on it.
I bet maybe Ringo still hates it.
Oh, there's probably a book with all the names in that they came out with first. What did you come out with first? With Kröter then?
That's a good. I really don't.
Goethe.
I think I had this toad. This toad thing was just really strong
attached
for me,
to your,
and it was on my head. Yeah, and
like Geiger's Alien sort of thing.
So it was Bufo, which was like the Spanish version, toad, or Kröter, and so I went for Kröter. Or I actually have suggested both, but Kröter was the one that stuck. Yeah.
And Jörg, what do you think of it?
It's kind of ugly, but it sticks.
Because of the warts, or the things that it puts on your body if you touch it.
Also, it's a word that doesn't really exist in German. It sounds like the male form of Kröter, but
yeah, I looked it up the other day.
It's a word that should exist.
Something that should exist but should never have existed. What about that?
And did,
Mr. Vast? What do you think?
Well, it really came to life in a vigorous way. There was a period of, let's say, 2 years where we did so many gigs. I hadn't done so many gigs as Mr. Vast or as Weavy or any other project for such a long time, and it was quite a shock. Really, it's like, what the fuck's going on?
Can you mention Weavy Stonder for a moment?
Weavy Stonder, right?
For our listeners who don't know the historical
the genealogy of
the John Peel past.
Yeah, Mr. Vast kind of came to life in Brighton because he was living with a band called Weavy Stonder. They were the main. They had a house, and I moved in, and I started to hear these noises coming out of the studio. And one day I tentatively kind of knocked on the door and said, "Oh, this sounds great. What are you doing?" They're like, "Oh, actually, just stay there a minute." Got a mic and got some headphones and just got me to do a story about a baboon, as I recall. I think it was the first story about a baboon cut with a lawnmower. I don't know, something typically Weavy, and that was the start of me working with Weavy. And then I kind of became a performative. I think they called me the disturbing live interactive element, or some written thing about it was that he's the disturbing interactive live element. So I was like between the band and the audience.
A bit like what's his name, Bez on
I was like
the
Bez.
Happy Mondays.
I was proud to be called a cheaper and nastier Bez. Yeah.
The discount version. Sorry,
just on different things. He had a lot more access to the really hard stuff. I was just a mushrooms and ale man, I think,
and no toads. Because there is a psychedelic toad, isn't there?
Of course
that you
there is.
can attach to your shoulder.
Well, you either
blade or something,
you take its secretions, and it's got it's DMT pure kind of thing.
Yeah. I should have given you that in your tea, your PG tips when you arrived. I forgot the biscuits, but
that's why witches put it in their soup.
Exactly. Yeah, I thought the whole thing with the witches'
and you've got
brew
people that lick them.
I thought, that's right.
They go on hand and feet when they see a toad, and they go.
But I thought you could put the thing with the brush was that you would brush your vagina or something, and then if you're a witch or a witchess, I don't know what wizards do.
It's one of the familiars, isn't it? The toad, the cat, the raven. There's kind of a series of animals which are supposedly someone's
knocking.
Oh. Yeah.
Is there anyone?
Someone's ringing the bell. Let him in.
Is there anyone out there? Well, great. Okay, you never know what's going to happen on Radio on Berlin. If you're listening to Radio on Berlin, we were having some knocks. We were
it's that side.
Kind of having some
it's
some
that
knocks.
door. Yeah.
Maybe Renus.
It's a poltergeist.
Renus is going to go.
It could be
live on air. Everyone out there.
People
Renus, if it's someone to look at the noise, then you have to just show them the noise thing. But can you say that we've got a live radio thing going on here? But it never happened in Maid of Vale, I tell you. Never happened on the BBC. This kind of stuff. Can you just maybe just shut the door? Yeah. That would be good, so we don't have to deal with anyone else coming in. You know what it is, talking about
I think I saw police helmets. No,
Sure, yeah.
That's it. We've called them down. We've got.
It's just like the Beatles, their last show, isn't it? When the police were trying to get in. We're going to have to hurry with the show, by the way, Henry. And then
looks like it. Yeah.
And then before
there's a man.
You don't know what's going to happen.
There's a man in the hall.
Okay,
he's looking at the ceiling.
Give him some tea and.
Well,
Alex, we'll be fine.
Maybe a Kröter.
But nothing ruffles you, Henry.
Ruffle in terms of
like this intervention that we just had, which we arranged just for this moment
to get the ruffles going.
Just to see if you would break a bead of sweat.
No, I fucking love a ruffle. Ruffle's like a bit my middle name these days. My live show is based on ruffling. It's like it's
okay.
I realised in the pandemic, obviously, like probably lots of, like everybody else who's a Darstellan, performance person, without the audience, you're pretty fucked. You just. I mean, lots of people did live streams. I couldn't do it because I need that interaction.
Right.
And it's got to be live. It's not just I can't see people's faces on a screen. It's got to be literally. I could smack you in the face if I wanted to, or me.
Wow.
There's got to be that.
Like JJ Burnell, like the Stranglers.
I like to get into the, and I like them to cut. The last show I did in Munich, they ended with the audience on stage. They came on stage and they were putting on my wigs and my costumes and smearing themselves in makeup, and and that was for me, that was in heaven. That was
amazing.
Magic. Yeah.
But how do you invite that kind of thing? You just say anything
Because it
possible
begins.
here.
I literally invite them, and I did my. It was kind of after my finale, which was an arse print.
I've heard about this.
Yeah, paint my backside and then sit down. And I had these pressings, these test pressings from the last album, which were blank white,
right,
which was perfect for the print.
Perfect. No testicle pressings then.
It's hard to get the. You can try. You can. It's really. You really have to get the ink in.
And
then really kind of.
Henry's making some kind of.
You need a cushion, I think, to create the pressure of. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Have a go. It's
now.
We could do live.
You can try it with a saddle of a bicycle, I think.
That could work, right?
The small one for the racing bike.
It's the druck, it's the press that's the difficult bit then, because then you'd have to put the paper over the saddle as well, right, and then sit on it. That could work.
True.
So
it's very Queen as well, isn't it? Like bicycle races.
So that's in it. But the effect of, I'll just let you know about this. If we don't go balls in, a full scrotal print, if we're just going butt, then what you get is if you just get it on the butt cheeks and then you sit down, what you get is a kind of effect of wings. It looks like as I handed it. This was how the story began. Me trying to tell you how I get people onto the audience.
Yeah.
So I had the final arse print and I held it up and I said, "Who's brave enough or who wants to come and take my arse?"
Oh.
And a lovely lady came out of the audience and took hold of it and then made the comment, "It's like angels' wings." And I thought, that's. And then she kissed it, and that's
beautiful.
I can live with that.
It's amazing. I do have a question that's connected with this. Has any of your work contributed to the downfall of the British royal family?
Oh, that's a listener that just sent this question in.
Exactly. He's called Andrew. Probably from the UK.
Okay.
He's probably the guy who just came in the studio just now, I think.
It could be.
Yeah. Maybe, yeah.
I deny.
Let me see. It's Andrew's from Northampton.
All accusations about any alleged arse printing that may or may not have gone on between me and Andrew and others. I can neither confirm nor deny the accusations.
Thanks. Right. So let's play some music. So we've got Kröter. There's a beautiful pink vinyl on the turntable here.
This is Hunger.
Hunger.
I'll let Jörg tell you about this.
Over to you, Jörg.
Whoa. Well, it's hard to say anything about it. Maybe just have some music first.
This is your project, though.
I know.
It? Yeah. This is not a Mr. Vast project.
No.
Okay. Let's. Should we go for a track of this?
CD or vinyl?
Oh! I've got a CD here as well. Is it the same CD?
No, vinyl.
Let's always go for vinyl.
Yeah. Go on. I don't want to damage your
the vinyl thing. Yeah, there's a delicate sort of machine there.
There it goes.
Here we go.
Whoa.
Hunger. Beautiful. Okay, and that's Hunger. And we have Jörg Hochapfel here in the studio. I'm going to turn up his microphone. Can you tell us something about it?
Well, it's a project that started actually about 25 years ago. That's how old I am. And,
24?
Right.
Old jokes. They're the worst, aren't they?
Yeah, well, it took that long to put out our first vinyl last year, and this was the first track of it
And
called.
it's pink vinyl.
Yeah, it's actually made in Leipzig, where Henry comes from, and they do recycling vinyl, where they recycle all the colored
Amazing.
vinyl stuff.
It's got someone's ashes pressed into it. I can
Probably,
see.
yeah.
That died of hunger. Maybe. No, I shouldn't say things like that.
Ooh.
No, sorry. Russia on the point of war with Ukraine, and maybe live on air we might have to switch to the news.
The news, yeah.
So yeah, tell us all about it.
Well,
Leipzig. Hunger. Is it anything by the? Because there was this famous book called Hunger, wasn't there?
by this what was it, Norwegian guy?
Yeah, sure. Is it connected with that? No.
Yeah, Danish Norwegian Knut Hamsun.
Yeah. Oh, that's it. Knut Hamsun. Yeah. Where does it come from? The name?
My girlfriend at the time made it up. I don't know why.
Anything to do with toads?
No. The track was called Dwarf Fever, though.
Great. But that was like 1 minute. That was how many? That was a 1 minute and a half track.
Yeah.
I mean, 1.5 minutes. That's a bit like the Resident. So they're like 50 tracks on this.
No,
album?
there's also very long ones.
Oh,
Yeah,
I see.
I think there's a 15-minute one on as well.
Oh, wow. And how can we find out about hunger apart from not eating? Sorry.
Well, you can't actually. I mean, we have a web page, but do I have to advertise for a web page?
Yeah, go on.
No, don't do this. No, Earls don't stick on the radio.
Too mainstream.
If you want to find out about this album, you will find it on our webpage, and where you will find the link.
You can just Google.
You can't click a radio show.
Yeah.
So
no.
yeah.
You can just Google Hungermusik with a Z,
Oh, great.
and then you'll find it.
Sick.
And you guys are
And it's him and
Kröter.
you got to mention your partner in crime.
Oh, yeah.
Your other partner in crime,
Right.
Jörg. Surely
Many
It's not
partners.
just Jörg. Hunger is also.
Christoph, who's also in Kröter. And
Oh.
I'm
This is
also
where you
a
started.
part-time Kröter.
So you're all from Leipzig, and that's how. But you met in Hamburg.
Hamburg was
that's
the
right.
beginning,
Got
and
it.
we were all Jörg, Christoph.
There was the mushrooms and there
Yeah.
was
Nadia and
Lots of fire.
Yo Zahn, other great name, Joe Tooth. That's the kind of, those are all the members back then, and but I think Hunger existed also back then, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And Weavy Stoner existed back then, but I was sort of I'd moved from Brighton to Hamburg, so I was kind of losing contact with that troupe and looking for something else, and so that was it was the beginning of the Kröter thing, and Hunger were already there, and Hunger is still there, but now they've both somehow been subsumed into a bit of krauting,
That's the second, because when you said Goethe, I thought,
Yeah, that's going to be a future album of Kröter.
oh yeah,
No, it's just
Jörg, is there something in Germany going on? Maybe people, young kids who go to school, they refer to Goethe as Kröter, because I missed that part, and I also like that Kröter is a reference to kraut, and
krautrock.
yeah. And you've got a very intellectual kind of krautrock.
he looks intellectual.
The Goethe thing was.
You must do a tour to Italy.
Kröter. There's a lot of dog shit. Is another great reference.
Oh, great.
Kröter.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's a shitty little dog, isn't it? It's a dog. It's a nasty name for a dog. A little.
Kröter is Dutch.
Yeah.
Kröter for a dog is Dutch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but the Goethe thing was just to help to pronounce Kröter. Goethe.
On the
Kröter.
way here,
Not
I
a
asked-
reference to Kröter being anything to do with or inspired by Goethe. I haven't read any.
That's okay. We can do a quick. We can read a bit.
Idiot's Guide to.
You shouldn't
exactly,
have said the thing about
Dante.
the dog shit, because now I see autumn leaves with the dog shit under it, and you step on the leaves somewhere in the wild.
Oh, that's a lovely
You know-
pastoral image.
No, that's romantic.
It is.
That's the downside of romanticism.
Well, it depends. I don't know. Some people consider that lucky. Standing
But
in
that's got
shit.
nothing to do with your music, I think.
Lucky.
Beauty, luck, or pastoralism? No, probably not.
Exactly.
And the Peter Pan syndrome. I only realised after listening to the very first track, or the intro track, and YouTube was trying to educate me, because that's all my education these days, on what it actually is. And I feel that that's what I am. I'm living my life as if I'm in hope, or thinking that everything's just a magical moment. Is that what it is?
The Peter Pan syndrome. It was a term coined by Dr. Dan Kiley from the United States, and it was kind of a coffee table psychology hit. Because he made it, little catchphrases like the Peter Pan syndrome, guys. We're all these poor guys are in trouble because they can't fucking get a grip and get control of their life and assume power and leave behind childish things. And so his book basically created this whole new focus on men who so apparently mostly men who have problems to assume responsibility. It was in the 80s, mid 80s. Yeah,
it's definitely me though. I think
it's I think it's many men, and I think it's also lots of women too. I think it's a human thing that you don't. I mean, that's my research. We did a long, the process of making the show was maybe 2 years until we finished. Actually, had the thing. And there was a lot of reading. I mean, it sounds crazy when you see the show, but there was a lot of reading about this kind of stuff. And
then the pandemic hit.
It was just before. It was 2000. We did it in 2017. Oh god!
And now we're all in this Peter Pan sort of
weird
complex.
Neverland.
Feels somehow.
It does.
It does. Let's play something else and then.
Sure. Okay. What's it going to be?
Nobody knows.
Should
we pass around the toads now?
Yeah,
there are a number of toads hopping around the studio.
That might help. Kröter. That's it. That's what we want, isn't it? Let's have some Kröter. Let's have. Crumbs. This might be.
There was a little old man sitting on the train next to me. It was about 13 years ago. He had a plastic bag, seemed to be full of things, I think. Papers. I guess he must have been in the 60s or something thereabouts, and he was rustling through his papers. He put his hand into the bag and took out a handful of papers and began to put them into order. He seemed to know exactly where each one should go. Down from top to bottom, about half a centimetre apart. Columns, regular, straight columns up and down the page. And he was looking out of the window while he was doing this. And he was watching the things go by. And as the things went by, he wrote down numbers. Everything had a number. He had a stopwatch in the other hand, and he would stop the watch and make a note in one of the columns. Everything had a number and a time and a calculation. I couldn't figure that part out. I couldn't figure any of it out. But it was fascinating. And somehow I felt terrified. As if this little old man sitting in the creative channel next to me, staring out of the window with his papers, and his pencil, and his calculator, and his stopwatch, knew what was going on. He was making precise precise notes, precise calculations, and precise timings of everything he saw. And I thought, he really knows where everything is. He's the one who knows where everything is. I wonder if I can talk to him, strike up a friendly conversation. I move closer in the carriage. He immediately notices my presence and makes adjustment to his. That's Colin. Pressing the watch, tapping some mysterious calculation into the calculator, making it in a note. How am I going to start this conversation? I thought. Nice weather we're having. But you know that already. In fact, you know the weather we've been having for the last 150 years. Accurate records of in your house, I imagine. The ones right on the page, stacked from floor to ceiling in every room. Regular, straight columns, manuscripts, magazines, newspapers, and books. Every room carefully ordered, every page memorized. You lead me to one of these rooms and offer me one of the columns. Here, run your finger down the spine and pull out the volume of your choice. Well, that was an offer I couldn't refuse, of course. I hesitantly observed the various columns of stacked paper. Which one should I choose?
Great
And it's
fade,
gone.
great fade. Yeah, there you go.
Hey, hang on.
That was my fault. Sorry.
Do you want to listen to any more of
Yeah, because it's like a 2-day track. No, 17 minutes, huh?
It could feel like 2 days.
Yeah.
For a toad, it might be 2
But
days.
if people want to hear the complete track, where should they go? What
It's on
should they
Band-
buy?
Yeah, Kröter is on Bandcamp. Yeah, it's
Kröter is on Bandcamp.
Yeah, Kröter with an R. K-R.
And O umlaut?
Umlaut.
Okay.
E-E-R. Kröter.
But Bandpants is the place to go these days, isn't it? Get rid of Spotify, all this stuff, iTunes.
That would be great, wouldn't it, if we could
Forget
do
it.
that?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And now they're doing live streaming as well, aren't they?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
But you don't do live streaming stuff, Mr.
I
Vast.
don't like it.
No.
No.
But even Bandcamp, we could see your.
Yeah, I don't know.
If there would be a holistic
there's loads of films.
hologram live
Kröter-
stream, would you do that?
Kröter. No, I don't know. Kröter's made a lot of film stuff. Actually, there's. I mean, you could play a film of stuff that we've done, which is us. You know, it's our choreography, our ideas visualized. So I guess you could just work something out with that. Maybe.
I mean, I haven't been to one of your live gigs, but I've seen on YouTube the Kröter gigs, and they seem to be like a happening.
Yeah,
something like that. You just don't know what's going to happen next.
Yeah, it was
reminding me of Chrome as well. This kind of feeling.
I don't know
of,
them. Don't know.
Kind of seminal band from the 60s, end of 70s. They influence a lot. But anyway, do you like this word psychedelia, or you avoid it?
I'm
or
not
only
got,
from
not got a problem with it.
No,
I think it's fine. I mean, it's used in various, good and bad ways, I guess. Psychedelic as a psychedelic movement. There's certainly a resurgence, isn't there? It seems to me that these days of psychedelic medicine and being able to heal mental illnesses, addictions, and so on.
But can you do it with fire? Because a lot of the performances I've seen, suddenly there's these spurts of flames that seem to sort of go all over the place.
Well, Peter Pan syndrome. I love it. I love explosions and things. It's just great fun. It's great fun. Too near?
Yeah, I'm just going to ask you to move your microphone closer because I love your voice.
I'm
Henry and
too far
Mr.
away from
Vast.
the mic.
Yeah, now that's more intimate in my ears. My ears are on my erogenous zones. So less of that, but more of this. Oh no, everything's going to go all over the place. Oh no, he's sticking not up his nose though. Look,
there is room up there. That has to be said.
That's what I was told the other day when I went in to do a COVID test at a apotheca thing. He said he made some kind of joke. The guy said, "Well, there's enough space in there in Deutsch," and I just don't know how. I'd take that as an insult, but. He did actually have something up my nose at the time, so it was hard.
There's a lot.
It was soft, but it was hard.
The nose is getting into focus, isn't it?
It really is.
With
the new thing.
Lots of swabbing and head back and I didn't like it. Now I don't mind it. I don't.
Well, there is space for a new conspiracy theory.
Talking about COVID now.
Since Macron and Scholz visit to Russia, because they didn't want to have it done by the Russians because they would take their DNA. So now, ladies and gentlemen, who had the test done?
They
got your DNA.
Yeah, but they don't store it.
Does that mean they're going to
anyway,
start trying to do Kröter music?
Well, I guess they could. Yeah. It's spreading. It's spreading fast. Yes, the levels of Kröter are now 100,000. 200,000 per 100,000. Yes, and do they breed very much Kröter?
Well, this is the funny thing about this life cycle, right?
Is it funny though?
It's maybe it's not amusing. It's not well, and especially I find ours. We're called Kröter, and somehow we had this very, as I said, vigorous eating and mating period, which for us was gigging and making music, and which is what they do. They come out of they're buried in the toads that I'm thinking of. They're buried under the mud, and the
toads
the toads I know, and they're kind of dead. There's still a pulse. But they're on sort of like a stasis. And when the rains come again, and the earth is soft enough again, then they unbury themselves and come back to life, fuck and eat rampantly for a couple of weeks, and then they disappear again. It's
amazing.
And we've kind of just disappeared again.
Yeah. So you're getting ready to.
We had a rampant phase of that, and now we've just completely buried. We're absolutely buried, and it's been impossible to do anything. But I kind of feel like that's okay.
And that's because of COVID, isn't it?
It kind of is.
And Brexit as well.
All sorts of shit. And one of us has bought a house in France and is doing that up. And
that's going to be a studio, though, isn't it?
Of course it is. It is. It already is. It already is. Yeah.
Full of toads. In the garden.
Well, yours was there. Has he got any toads?
This could go with the other thing. What Kröter do. The wife of Kröter. The wife Kröter, they carry the man Kröter on their back when they cross the street.
No way. Like a taxi service.
Yeah. That's what.
Well, not really taxi if you're crossing the road.
It's more like kids leaving school.
Like a
lollipop. The husband, which is much more bigger.
Lollipop toad.
And then you see them walking across the street in the light of lamps of the car.
See, it's a conversation starter.
There was a man on train, Henry. I meant to say there was a man on a train. It's not a joke.
Okay,
you were talking about a man.
True stories.
No, there was a man on a train.
There really was a man on a train. In the last track called Columns, because the story ends with a visit to the house of this person that I observed on the train. On a long train journey, there was a guy sitting there. I mean, if you are listening and you've just heard me telling the story, I'm going to just kind of tell it again now. So I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, because we left the microphones on while the track was playing.
I don't know. But,
play it again.
It was just an old guy. Look. There was something about him that even from a distance in the carriage, I was like, something about this guy. What he was wearing, how he sat, and the fact that he was so. His attention was outside, and then I noticed he was making little movement. He had kinds of equipment like measuring tapes, like a stopwatch, like a thermometer. He had all of this measuring gear, and he was referencing all of it and making little scratchy little note, like some kind of hieroglyphics, like really rapidly, and doing this. Yeah, and it just seemed like something absolutely out of this world. What was going on? It wasn't like he wasn't reading a paper. He wasn't writing his diary. He wasn't tapping into a computer. There was something was going on. At least that was my sense of it. And the nearer I tried to get secretly to observe more and more closely, the more he kind of shrumpled together and sort of didn't want to let me see his little...
He wasn't the ticket inspector on the train, was he?
He wasn't, no. and then I just went off into imagining where he lived, and that maybe he was a hoarder, and he had stacks of columns, the title of the track, these columns inside his house, which are made up of papers that, you know, of all of these notes that he'd been keeping over his lifetime. That was it, really. And going to visit and just having how that affects you, you know, because he invites you into this place. It's like his archive, and he wants you to find your place in it. Somewhere in it, you will be noted.
Right.
So I'm after my invite into his hoarding world of paper columns, he invites me to choose my piece, and I get it wrong, and he freaks out.
But it sounds very Kafkaesque somehow.
Right, yeah, I suppose it is, but yeah.
The train. Can I bring you to Mexico?
Yeah.
I've got tickets. I've got tickets for us all.
Yeah, great.
They leave soon.
I'd love to go. Fucking
I
hell.
thought you were in Mexico.
My record is in Mexico.
Your record's in Mexico.
We had to interview the record.
Why.
Yeah.
I played in München in December, as I mentioned, and after the show, which I also mentioned was very cathartic. There was a lot of contact with the audience, and one of the ladies who I had contact with after the show told me that she was about to leave to go to the airport to go to Mexico, and I said, "Wow, well, please take this with you," and gave her my disc.
Can you describe the disc?
It's a picture disc. It's Mr. Vast's last album called Touch and Go, which, you know, you can take my powers of prophecy as you will. Things have certainly touch and go ever since, in a bigger way than they ever have been, as far as I'm concerned. And anyway, it's a picture disc, and it's got a breakfast on one side, and it's, you know, fish and chips on one side, and an English breakfast, you know, fried eggs and beans and bacon on the other side. But it's actually a candy breakfast from Brighton. You know, it's these.
It's not real, isn't it?
These weird candy breakfasts you can get as a tourist in Brighton. You know, so
it looks like a greasy diner breakfast, but it's actually made out of...
if you tried to stick your fork in it, it would break off. So it's a bit like the music. So I gave her that and said, "Please take it to Mexico with you." And she said, "Yeah, of course." And I said, "What do you want me to do with it?" I said, "Well, whatever feels right. leave it somewhere where you think it wants to be." Yep. And months later, I get this message, and it's photos from her journey through Mexico with the fucking album, and she's putting it in all of these beautiful places.
Whoa.
I'm making a travel diary with the album, so that the album on the Caribbean coast, the album next to one of the famous Mexico City murals, an album next to a mezcal farm leaning under a cactus, whatever. There's like eight of these beautiful pictures, and I was very very moved that she decided to do that. So
great. You have to send us one of these pictures.
Sure.
Where can our listeners see it?
You can see
on
it
our website.
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly.
You're listening to Radio 1 Berlin.
Or Mr. Vast Instagram. Oh, sorry.
Instagram,
yeah. I wouldn't have done it if I wasn't.
No, that's okay.
Mr. Vast. It's Mr. Vast and not me.
Where did Mr. Vast come from then?
Oh, fuck.
Space.
I'm sure I told you this story last time, Adrian. You've just forgotten, haven't you? In Brighton, I used to have these nasty skunkweed parties and gather people around and just really...
Can we be invited one day?
drill into a conversation. I was a proper nasty hippie back in those days, and I used to, you know, want to get everyone to have a group hug and awful stuff like that, and have deep conversations. And my flatmate hated me. You know, he was like a punk, and he was like, "Oh, fuck you! Yeah, stop trying to dig deep and have these. You know, let's just get wasted and stop. You know, leave all this other
extra
baloney,
detritus."
And anyway, so I went to sleep after one of these parties, and I woke up someone banging on my door, bash, and he came in, and it was Cosmo, and he said, "Don't get vast with me. Turned around, went out the room, went back to his room, and I was like, Lenny, fucking hell, man, that's a bit out of order. Cosmo, fuck you. And I got up, went to his room, opened the door. Cos, I'm not into this. What do you mean don't get vast with me? What are you doing? And he was like, Henry, fucking hell, man, what are you doing? I'm asleep, you tosser. And he was asleep. I dreamt it. He never got up and came in my room and said that to me.
Dun, dun, dun.
And from that day on, the flat christened me Mr. Vast because of this dream, and I've been Mr. Vast ever since. Or the character Mr. Vast has been ever since. Yeah. And then I joined Weavy, and then they said, "Oh, what do you want to be called when we put your credit on the first album?" And I said, Mr. Vast. So,
amazing,
it's
an amazing story which I can't recall.
Okay, well maybe I didn't tell it to you. I take that back
because you were here.
You I know you.
Maybe I was asleep.
A good memory.
I don't know.
Did we play another 17-minute
radio
track?
sleep talking? My little daughter, has been. We went home to the UK for the first time for Christmas, right? First time in 2.5 years after Brexit and pandemic and whatever is coming next. And she grabbed a book from my mother's library by Enid Blyton called The Adventurous Four, and I started reading it to her. And she's 7, and I know you've got an amazing voice. Henry, and I just wanted. I was a little bit surprised in this book because the Adventurous Four get shipwrecked on an island. Of course, they're kids and stuff, and there's 3 islands and all this sort of stuff. And like 18 chapters in of very little happening, apart from getting hungry. Hunger. There's a reference there.
Jörg.
It took me ages to make the connection, but there's a connection between Enid Blyton and everyone in this room. Right, and I just wanted to see if you could just read this, one. Yeah, wow, it's not the whole chapter; it's just one page in the style of what you think.
Shaking.
So it's like 1945.
Is that before or after the track?
It was actually we could play a track first,
and then
let's play a track first.
We could
and then it goes to the Adventurous Four. So when was this?
Let's have some hunger.
Or maybe from the CD.
Published in 1941. Yes, let's go for the CD.
Track number 3, please.
Track number 3, please, Bob. And
time for some more hunger.
More hunger on the decks. Track number 4 is Xanax. Barracuda is 2. Track number 3 is Give Back, the Monkey.
That's also nice.
Which one did you want?
Barracuda, actually.
Oh, Barracuda. Okay, we'll go for that one. Yeah. food from hunger. And we have Jörg Hochapfel in the studio, just tuning up. And Henry is about to read something from the I think it was 1943 it was made, so it was during the war. So as I say, just really quick as a quick reprise, my daughter, 7-year-old daughter is reading, I'm reading it, but she's listening to it, and it's the story of these 4 kids that have been washed on an island, shipwrecked in a storm, and what's happened so far after 18 chapters that seem like 18,000 chapters is that suddenly they come across the Nazis. Yeah, crazy, huh? Well, how do you deal with that when you're reading a child sort of some book about some kids being the Crooked Cross? There's a seaplane, the Crooked Cross. Wow. They come across, and then there's a whole there's a submarine, there's an U-boat, sort of about 7 or 8 subs, ready to destroy the convoys and things like that. But they never mention the Germans in it. They just go the enemy. And I read it to my daughter the other day, and I was saying, and they say, no, the Crooked Cross, and that must mean the enemy. And my daughter went, the Germans. She's German. Okay, so here we go. So let's go for this.
The 4 children made their way to the high rocky ledge. Andy made them lie down, flat, and wriggle like Red Indians as they reached it. Better not let ourselves be seen if anyone is down there, he whispered. So, as flat as snakes, they wormed their way to the rocky ledge. And when they got there, they had the biggest surprise of their lives. In the quiet water that lay outside the second inland was a large and powerful seaplane. Yes, a great seaplane whose wings spread widely over the blue water. No small motorboat purred there. It was the seaplane's engine that Andy had heard so mysteriously in the middle of the night. Whoa! Look at that, whispered Andy, his face going as red as a beetroot with excitement. I never thought of a seaplane. What a very extraordinary thing. Let's go up and shout and wave, begged Jill. I'm sure they will love to rescue us. Haven't you seen the sign on the wings? Asked Tom in a curiously angry voice. The girls looked. The sign of the Crooked Cross was painted on each wing. The sign of the enemy, the foe of half the world. Golly, said Mary, and she drew a deep breath.
Beautiful.
That was as deep as I could draw.
Beautiful. Have you ever read any Enid Blyton in any of your
I think
things before?
I think in a previous life as a younger
being. There's something about a magic chair or a wishing chair.
Far away funk or something. I don't know.
Far away funky chair.
Something.
So
like
I remember the cover artwork being like this, and it was, but there was a chair, and there was a couple of kids sitting on it, and it was like floating in the air. So something about a flying chair. I'm sure. Yeah. It's
beautiful. How you read it and how you played, Jörg. Lovely. You've done this before. You should BBC television, children's TV. There's a future there.
I think so.
You must have had offers and stuff like that from those places,
especially for Enid Blyton, which is like the most exciting kids book.
Amazing.
The hipster shit.
It really is. It's totally so outdated as well. It's so incredible. Motor bicycles.
Didn't she write like 300 books or something?
More. I don't. Yeah. Many. Yeah. Enough. Before she snarked off her weavy coil.
There's a kind of krautrocky band called Enid, isn't there? The Enid.
Something, yeah, probably, yeah. Or the Blytons. And you're from Brighton, aren't you? Amazing. Wow, this show just gets weirder and weirder.
Just call him Dr. Segway.
Exactly. We're going down the hole. That reminds me. Borehole. Kröter. Sorry.
Kröter, yeah.
As my daughter would say. Dirty. Trepanning. Tell us all about it.
Yeah.
Go on.
Well, I guess
in about 30 seconds.
I got a book. I came across a book about trepanation from a guy called Joe Mellon and
Joe Mellon. You're just making all this up, aren't you?
And he was part of a movement in the 60s, along with a couple, a more science. But he wasn't a scientist; he was more of an artist. But his friend was
Joe Mellon.
Joe,
Mr. Mellon.
Joe and Bob Orange's his science friend had come up with a theory about pressure of cerebral fluid and blood, and that when you're a child, you have the fontanella, the little gap. And because of this gap, the levels of blood saturation in the brain are much greater than when the gap closes and you become an adult, and the pressure of the blood and the cerebral fluid changes, so that you end up with less coverage of blood in the brain, which is an explanation, as far as these guys were concerned, as to why kids are so much brighter, creativer. There you go. They can make words up, and so his theory was, if you could reopen the fontanella, i.e. trepan yourself, make another hole, then you could recreate that and artificially re-establish that balance, so that you have more activity in your brain. It's just it's the brain, it becomes more active the more blood it has.
People did that.
This reminds me of somebody who drilled a hole in the front of his.
There's different places to do different things. I mean, it was actually a used practice back in the day. I don't know what day, but it definitely was an official medical practice in darker times, perhaps.
Didn't they find like Stone Age man with like holes in the?
They did, yeah.
That could have been trepanning.
It could have been
if they'd had drills.
But if they
in
beat
those times, or electricity,
just that flintstone rolling between their palms for a couple of days.
Exactly. It's gone up in flames.
If they beat or kick your head to pulp, it's not too bad at all, because you've got all these weird images because of the blood coming in your brain.
My brain now.
So kick again, yes. Oh, great.
But the reason on the back cover of the book, which kind of legitimised the whole thing, was basically a Guardian reporter. I've forgotten her name. Sorry, darling. But she wrote the story that
Mrs. Blancmange,
Cynthia Lemon,
Cynthia Coconut. Yeah, she had gone to visit the guy who's still alive and lived a very wonderful and happy life. Apparently.
Can he speak anymore?
He speaks fluently, and he even does lectures about this whole thing. And the tagline, of course, for the advertisers and the PR people was he's got high, trepan yourself and get high, permanently high, because that was one way of describing the feeling that it gives you of buoyancy and openness and more life. And the Guardian reporter had been there and was so convinced and so taken aback by his presence as a being that she decided to do it, and she did it. And she also reports
getting high.
Only positive
benefits from
Yeah.
it.
So the reason I say that is because you have a track by Koi.
And so that obviously inspired a track, or
called
2 tracks, in fact. Borehole Part 1 and Borehole Part 2.
Is that going in and out then?
Well, it's all just in. It's all basically in, but I'm just trying to. It's just a track about trepanation.
So do you have Borehole with you? Can we listen to it?
We can have a little listen to Borehole.
Yeah.
It's quite a long track.
Yeah, that's okay. We've got about 1 minute left, I think, for the show.
Oh dear.
We can get a feeling for it,
at
least.
Yeah.
Will we say goodbye now or after the
I
track?
think let's say goodbye now. Yeah, in a typical trepanning style. So, as one might say, if you had a drill about to go into your skull.
Or stand on our head for 1 minute and
So you've been listening to Radio 1 Berlin here, our live afternoon with Mr. Vast, a.k.a. Henry Sargent, a.k.a. Kröter, and from Hunger, Jörg Hochapfel here in the studio, live. I got it right. Amazing. I've been learning that all day. They collaborate, yes. Together and Kröter. So this is Kröter.
Yeah, thanks. It's been lovely to be here.
It's been lovely.
Yeah,
totally.
Trepan away.
Totally.
Do try this at home.
Yeah. If you really want to. Yeah.
Okay. Under medical supervision, obviously.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Take it with a pinch of something like mescaline or something. I don't know.
Here it comes. Then.
It's coming. Yeah.
Borehole Part 2.
Henry, I've got a drill in the studio. We could
live drill
I've never done it.
Yeah.
I've never done it before, but
I've been thinking about it for years. So maybe this is the time.
You've never done it.
You've never done it.
I've never done it. We could do something together.
Let's do.
Why don't you? If you.
Let's try.
Do we need to clean our skulls or something like that?
Yeah, have a quick. Just get it cleaning up a bit. Yeah.
He's just wiping it. Look, after all this COVID stuff, right?
Cleaning up a bit.
Yeah. You have to sing "Happy Birthday" to yourself. Right.
Yeah, and then it's all nice and clean, and then
I'm not a surgeon or anything, Henry, but
okay. No, I trust you.
I'll start it really slowly, okay? And then
all right. I'm
ready.
I'm bracing myself.
Okay, getting closer.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah.
So.
Oh fuck! That's really
a little bit.
Oh, that's bizarre. Christ! Fucking hell! Jesus Christ!
I think it's going all over the place.
Whoa!
Henry! It's gone out.
Shit!
Turn music off.
Get a fucking cloth!
Fucking music off.
Fucking blood everywhere, man! Jesus!
Fucking shit!
I think you're through. You're through.
I'm sorry, Henry. I'm really sorry.
Radio on. Oh, that feels great. Wow. You next, yeah?
Sure.
Oh, come on, it's fine. Honestly, I feel really good. Was that the 50mm? Yeah, that'll heal over in no time.
That's a rat.